It's Friday, April 10th. There's 2 days left in the NBA regular season. Let's do some playoff picture. In the Eastern Conference, the Pistons are locked into the 1 seed. That's done. The Celtics are now locked into the 2 seed. That's done. 3-4 is still up in the air between the Knicks and the Cavaliers. Cavaliers cannot fall further than 4. Cavaliers beat the Hawks the other night, but they are resting tonight versus the Atlanta Hawks in their second game. Donovan Mitchell's out. Jared Allen's out. Jalen Tyson is out. Sam Merrill's out. Evan Mobley, James Harden will play. That game's actually pretty important for a lot of things, but let's stay focused on 3-4. Knicks get the win versus the Celtics, which obviously increases their chances of getting to 3. Magic number's 1. If they win or the Cavs lose either of their last 2 games, the Knicks are locked into 3 and Cavs lock into 4. So we can go ahead and pencil in Knicks 3, Cavs 4. It's just more likely that the Hawks are going to win tonight rather versus the Cavs who are resting guys at home, second game of a 2-game set, et cetera, et cetera. Knicks play Raptors who have a lot more to play for. Knicks are probably resting guys, but might win anyway. It's just very likely that the Knicks are going to wind up 3, Cavs 4. 5 obviously is where it starts to get interesting. Raptors going a little bit like getting some wins, which helps them considerably here. Atlanta and Toronto are tied. Toronto has head-to-head tiebreaker over Atlanta. So if those 2 teams are tied, they're going to get it. The key for Toronto in moving up is avoiding any situation in which there's more than one team that they're tied with that is in Atlanta. And so because of the problem that exists with division tiebreaker, I talk about this all the time, but I'll go over it again for you. If the Raptors, the Hawks, and any other team wind up in that situation, that is not Charlotte, by the way. If it's Raptors, Hawks, Magic, Raptors, Hawks, Sixers, either of those 2 combinations, the Hawks go ahead because they win the division and they automatically get 5. If it's just Raptors, Hawks, first tiebreaker is head-to-head and Raptors have that. So Raptors have an advantage right there. A lot of this hinges on what happens on Friday night with Hawks Cavs. If the Cavs win that game, we are entering into a whole other territory of chaos. Knicks Raptors obviously matters a lot too. Toronto plays Nets in the last game of the season. Let's go ahead and give them the dub. Raptors are going to make the playoffs. Like, they're going to be a playoff team and not a play-in team. I feel pretty confident about that. Magic numbers 1, by the way. They win 1 more game. They just win the Nets game. They won't be in the play-in tournament. So that's good. Here's how the rest of this works out though. If the Raptors were to lose to the Nets and the Knicks, they go 0-2. Hawks go 0-2. Charlotte goes 3-0. Or 2-0, I'm sorry. I am dead serious. The Charlotte Hornets jump all the way to 5. Charlotte has head-to-head tiebreaker over Atlanta, which means that they win the division, which means that in any multi-team tie, guess what? Charlotte goes all the way to the top. They jump all the way up. So Hawks Cavaliers tonight is a very significant game. Even if the Raptors, let's say the Raptors lose to the Knicks on Friday night and then win on Sunday versus the Nets because the Nets are an abomination, that puts Raptors in 5 pretty much almost no matter what. It's just going to be very difficult for that not to happen if they do go ahead and beat the Brooklyn Nets on Sunday. On Sunday, the Knicks play the Hornets, which is really interesting, but Knicks are probably locked in to their spot at that point. The Hawks play the Heat, who will still be battling, by the way, to try and get out of the 10 spot into a 9 and host a play-in tournament game. So they'll have something to play for in that one. There are a lot of ways that this can work out. There's just a lot of scenarios for how this can go. The Heat are not going to get out of the play-in tournament. I can tell you that. They're going to be in the play-in tournament. But the rest of this stuff can all move up or down depending on what happens. Raptors Nets is an incredibly important game on Sunday. Every Hornets game is important. Both Hawks games are important. Both Sixers games are important. The Magic games are important. All of this gets very, very complicated. Raptors are in a really good tiebreaker situation as long as it's a 2-team tie. There is very little chance of them moving into a spot where they actually lose out. There is a scenario in which they lose out and they actually get caught and get bumped to the 7. That actually can be a real possibility. One of the things that hurts them in all of these machinations. So Sixers max wins is 45. Raptors are at 45. If they lose out, they wind up in a very precarious position here, because what would happen in that situation if they lost out, let's say Hawks win, they go to 5. Let's say the Magic win and they went out and they go to 46. So they go up there as well. Well, then what winds up happening is it's Raptors and Hornets and Sixers win tiebreaker because the Sixers and them tied in head-to-head, but the Sixers have division record. The Raptors were terrible in division this year. So, like, there's a scenario where the Raptors are 5. Most scenarios are Raptors at 5. And there's a lot of scenarios where the Raptors drop all the way down to 8 or 9. Need to win the next games, Raptors. Need to win that one because at least you got the Nets. That should help them out in getting out of the play-in tournament. Orlando, not great tiebreaker situation overall. They lose in most scenarios as far as this goes, but we'll see where they wind up. On Friday night, they play the Bulls. Let's go ahead and give them that win. That feels like a good thing. A pretty solid bet there is with the Bulls tanking as well as half the fucking league tanking. Then on Sunday, Magic have Celtics. Celtics have nothing to play for. It's going to be, Jordan Walsh, Baylor Shireman, those guys. So good opportunity there probably for Orlando to go 2-0. And that puts them in a pretty interesting position just because of the competition that the other teams are having. But again, when we look at tiebreaker scenarios, that's where things start to go a little bit sideways for Orlando. Orlando loses tiebreaker to the Hawks. They lose tiebreaker to the Hornets. They lose tiebreaker to the Sixers, and they lose tiebreaker to the Raptors. The Magic come out pretty much at the bottom of every combination except the Miami Heat. I cannot tell you how bad it was for Miami that they went 0-5 versus Orlando this year. If they had just won 3 games versus Orlando, the Miami Heat would be sitting in a much better position. I would love to tell you exactly what I think is going to happen. I have no idea what the contingencies going on as they are. The most likely scenario, I will tell you, and let's go ahead and show the graphic. I'll show the bracket here, and we can talk about it. The most likely scenario, and this is what I've got projected right now, is Pistons versus Hornets in the 1-8. I've got the Hornets tied for the 8 seed with the Sixers, but they get in. So Pistons, Hornets, first round. That's the one everybody wants. Cavs, Raptors in the 4-5, which is actually a pretty interesting matchup, I think, given the Raptors' defensive ability. Cavs kind of weak defensively. Raptors' offense is weak. It's like strength versus strength and weakness versus weakness in that situation, but I think it's pretty interesting. Celtics, Magic in the 2-7, which is not a series I'm particularly looking forward to watching, but maybe Orlando gets it together. And then Knicks, Hawks in the 3-6. That one's really interesting. Like Knicks, Hawks, Jalen Johnson, Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson versus Dyson Daniels. You've got like a lot of combos. I think that's actually like a really interesting kind of matchup. Let's talk about the Western Conference now, because that one's just as complicated and completely fucked up. Here we go. All right. The Thunder are locked in 1. They're resting everybody on Friday night versus the Denver Nuggets, who also, it seems, are resting everybody. We'll come back to that. Spurs are locked into 2. Spurs have nothing to play for. Wembanyama's got to play 20 minutes in the last 2 games, or 15, somebody said, but I believe it's 20 for him to be able to be in consideration for awards. So he'll play. Sunday we'll come back to. They got no real reason to really compete here, but it looks like Wemby's going to play on Friday night. They're not really playing for anything at this point, though. There's nothing to play for except for Wemby getting awards consideration. They're locked into the 2. Sunday's a little bit different. Again, we'll come back to that. 3 through 5 is what's all fucked up. Here we go. All right. The Nuggets are in 3rd. The Nuggets lead by a game. They play the Thunder, who are resting everybody in Denver on Friday night. Denver is also, everybody's questionable. We don't know who's going to play. The Lakers, because they got the win versus the Warriors, because the Warriors sat everybody because they're locked in the 10 seed, can't go anywhere. So the Lakers win on Thursday night. It's a back-to-back game. Austin's out. Luke is out. It's just LeBron on a 3-4 back-to-back. So one would think that most likely that LeBron is not going to play in this particular contest. If he does, it's evidence of how desperate they are to go ahead and improve their standing to try and move up, because it is just quite simply pretty crazy given the things that they're facing. As I'm recording this, the injury report still hasn't been uploaded. Okay. The Rockets, by the way, are Also, I believe a game back. They're a game back of Denver. Denver has tiebreaker over the Rockets. They don't have tiebreaker over the Lakers. Lakers have tiebreaker over both. Rockets do not have tiebreaker over either. If the Nuggets go 0-2, the Lakers go 1-1, and the Rockets go 2-0, the Rockets get the 3 seed, the Lakers get the 4, and the Nuggets are the 5. That is definitely possible. The most likely scenario. Let's talk about the most likely scenario. That's Nuggets split. They beat the Thunder because the Thunder are resting everybody and they're at home. And then there's the San Antonio game, which again we'll come back to. Lakers get the Suns, no Devin Booker, but everybody else is playing for the Suns. And then they get the Jazz. So we know the Lakers are winning at least one game. We know that they're going to get to at least 52 wins. Okay. Rockets in a similar type of position here. They don't have like any sort of hugely serious kind of battle. They play the Grizzlies on Sunday, so that's a win. Let's go ahead and ratchet that as a win for the Houston Rockets. That seems likely. Rockets play Timberwolves, who are locked into the 6 and resting everybody on Friday. It looks like Rockets are going 2-0. Okay, so they're going to get to 53 wins. So what it comes down to is that would be Rockets at 53, Nuggets at 53, Lakers at 53, pending the result of Nuggets Spurs. On Sunday, the San Antonio Spurs will have no way to move up or down. They are locked into the 2. They host the Denver Nuggets. If they win that game and the sequence I laid out happens, where the Lakers, it doesn't really matter the Rockets games. If the Lakers win versus the Suns, then the Spurs will definitely control their own destiny there. If the Lakers don't win, they'll still control their own destiny, so that doesn't really matter. Sorry. The Rockets are in position here to be able to move up, right? That's kind of the thing is the Spurs will be able to choose between Rockets and Lakers depending on what happens in the Lakers-Suns game. If we assume the Rockets go 2-0 and we assume the Lakers go 1-1, the Spurs get to basically choose in this scenario how hard to go after knocking Denver out of their bracket. If the Spurs beat the Nuggets, given the schedules, there's very little chance that they'll face the Nuggets in the second round. They would knock Denver into the 4, and OKC Denver, if both teams advance, would be in the second round. This is the dilemma in front of the San Antonio Spurs. And for them, I think it's just basically like, how healthy are you? Do you want to rest? It's, you play whoever you play. You got to deal with the first round first. That's how most teams think of it. But it is interesting from this perspective of, if you go into that game and the Lakers you have the ability to get the Lakers into that bracket in a 3-6 versus the Nuggets, how hard do you go after it? Denver, for their part, may just rest everybody because they got to get healthy. That's their biggest thing. They know they got to get healthy. But this is huge, man. Only 2 teams since 1969 in NBA history have won the NBA title with more than a 3 seed. The 1969 Boston Celtics and the 1995 Houston Rockets. That's it. No other team below a 3rd seed has won the title. That spot historically matters. So San Antonio, I think, is in a really interesting spot here going into Sunday, depending on what happens on Friday night. Now, if the Suns beat the Lakers, right, and the Lakers are still at 51 and Denver wins, Denver's locked into the 3 and it's done. And San Antonio will have no reason to pursue it. Doesn't matter what Houston does in that situation. As long as Nuggets win, Lakers lose on Friday night, then those games do not matter. The only things that matter are Lakers and Rockets outcomes for home court in 4-5. If Lakers lose, Nuggets win Friday night, Nuggets are the 3. Pretty fascinating, especially with the injury reports. Wolves are locked at 6. They can't go up or down. Suns are locked at 7. Can't go up or down. 8-9 Clippers Blazers is still up in the air. Clippers are 1 game up on the Blazers. They play on Friday night, and they play for tiebreaker. If the Clippers win versus Portland on Friday, they will lock into the 9 seed and have 2 shots. Into the 8 seed, and they'll have 2 shots at making it out of the play-in tournament and into the playoffs. Suns, no team has ever has missed the playoffs being a 7 seed. So Suns are up, have some history on their side. Blazers would then host the Warriors in the 9-10, and the winner of that will go on to face the loser of 7-8 Suns versus Clippers. Here's the Western Conference bracket, so you can see what I'm projecting right now. I've got Thunder versus Clippers, Rockets versus Lakers, actually, in the 4-5, Spurs, Suns, and then Nuggets, Wolves. This has remained chalk for the last week, but I will tell you this. Based on my projections, I've got the Nuggets at 52.5 wins. Okay. So exactly, they have a 1.5 wins out of 2 projected. If that falls by 0.1, they fall into a 3-team tie, and the Lakers move to the 3 seed, and they fall to the 4. That's how close this is. Right now, for me, I have it projected by 0.1 wins. It's a few percentage points based off of what I'm projecting for these games. It's tight, man. Like, it's really tight in the Western Conference for who's going to wind up where, and this is going to impact the roads that these teams have to go through. There's no good road in the West. They're all tough, but man, a lot to be decided. I'll come back and do another video tomorrow here on the Substack. Thanks for joining me. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube if you're watching there, or please restack if you're watching on Substack. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow with more playoff picture. What a crazy world.